Advocating on behalf of HIV/AIDS requires individual nurses and nurses as a profession to take into consideration people's environmental contexts, such as social and structural factors that ultimately contribute to HIV prevalence. In developed countries like USA, social factors such as hierarchical income and racial composition at the regional level should be focused upon, whereas in developing countries like Africa, attention should be focused towards the national level, religion, and the ratio of female to male economic participation rate, as well as empowerment of females. In USA, the Association of Nurses in AIDS Care believes that nurses should advocate for 1. Access to care for all individuals living with HIV/AIDS, 2. Human rights, 3. Support for dissemination and implementation of evidence-based and scientifically driven HIV treatment and prevention programs, and 4. Support for HIV/AIDS workforce development. This includes support and protection of all patients and equity and benefits across state-based programs, including Medicaid. Includes discrimination of HIV transmission and support for LGBT rights in jurisdictions locally as well as globally, advocating for changing laws and policies that criminalize HIV, and educating nurses and other healthcare providers of the importance of human rights and based approaches to HIV management. Full implementation of routine HIV testing of adolescents, adults, and pregnant women, support for evidence-based sexual education in public schools, establish more syringe exchange programs, promote prevention through established communications with communities, and full access to HIV prevention strategies, including education and pre-exposure prophylaxis programs. Provision of incentives for nurses that work in HIV care through student loan forgiveness programs, at all levels of experience through HIV clinical fellowships, appropriate reimbursement for nurses and others who provide care to HIV patients, and full practice and authority for advanced practice registered nurses. In Papua New Guinea, nurses are seen as advocating for health using the power of communication. So the nurses in this country decided to advocate and address these issues. Firstly, by identifying key local stakeholders, including youth and women's groups and community leaders in 14 villages in order to increase awareness about HIV/AIDS. The nurses used short wave radio services, community-based outdoor, remote broadcasting systems, and local newspapers to deliver information about health. They offered remote clinics in each village and conducted workshops in HIV and AIDS. They taught the local people about primary healthcare topics such as diabetes, hypertension, prenatal care, and immunization. They made workshops, and following one of the workshops, 365 people came to the healthcare center for HIV testing. These nurses not only tapped into their knowledge of the population needs, but set the stage for developing a national approach to increasing public engagement with HIV testing. As nurses, we continue to inform the future direction of HIV/AIDS policy, program, and research to positively affect the health and well-being of people living with HIV/AIDS. No mission is too impossible for nurses.
Created using Powtoon.